What happens when a Hollywood icon walks straight into the lion's den, and the lions decide to bite back? What happens when a conversation meant to be light, promotional, harmless suddenly twists into something sharper, something personal, until a studio audience sits frozen, unsure whether to clap or gasp? That's the moment you're about to witness. And before we descend into the fire, make sure you subscribe to Stage View, like, and drop a comment, because what unfolds next is the kind of storm you don't see on daytime TV without someone losing their composure. The lights above the View's studio glow like a constellation caught in a permanent sunrise. Everything looks soft, warm, inviting, until it doesn't. Today's episode begins like any other. Cheerful chatter, a vibrating hum of studio audience energy, hosts shuffling through cue cards, and producers pacing around with headsets buzzing like techno insects. But behind the curtain, Jennifer Aniston stands in place, her breath steady, her shoulders squared. She's done hundreds of interviews, weathered decades of public scrutiny, and mastered the art of measured charm. But today, she senses something off. Like an electrical charge under the surface, an unspoken tension threading between the hosts, or maybe the topics they've been teasing all week. Still, she shakes it off. She's Jennifer Aniston. She's bulletproof. Or so she thinks. "Jennifer, we're ready for you in 20 seconds, a stage manager says, smiling too wide. "Great," she replies, but something about the man's quick retreat makes her frown. The house band cues the familiar intro tune. The studio audience erupts in applause. Joy Behar leans forward at the table, lipstick perfectly red, eyes glinting with a kind of playful mischief that sometimes, only sometimes, slides into something sharper. Beside her sits Whoopi Goldberg, calm as a monk, her presence a grounding force even in chaos. Sunny Hostin flips through her notes quietly. Alyssa Farah Griffin sits poised, legs crossed, absorbing the energy around her. And somewhere in the booth, a producer mutters, "All right, let's hope this goes smoother than rehearsal." A countdown echoes, 10, 9, 8. Jennifer steps forward, plastering on the warm, recognizable smile that has charmed millions for decades. The curtain parts. The lights intensify. The applause grows. She steps into the world of The View, where words can build bridges or set fires. "And please welcome," Whoopi says, "the one and only Jennifer Aniston." Jennifer enters to a wave of cheers, laughter, even a few whistles. She waves, laughing, brushing hair from her face. She hugs Whoopi, exchanges cheek kisses with Sunny, nods brightly at Alyssa, and then turns to Joy. Joy's smile is wide. Too wide. A smile that says, "Oh, I've been waiting for this." Jennifer sits. A mug clinks lightly as she places it down. She adjusts her posture. The audience settles. The cameras blink their tiny red eyes. "So, Jennifer," Whoopi says gently, leaning back, "you've got a new film coming out. The trailer looks incredible. Really emotional." Jennifer lights up. "This is familiar territory." "Safe." "Yes. Thank you. It's a story I really connected with." But before she can finish, Joy cuts in. "Let's be honest, Jennifer," Joy says, tapping her pen. "You've done a lot of emotional movies lately. A lot of dramas. A lot of, let's call them serious roles. Do you ever miss being funny?" The audience gives an awkward chuckle, unsure if it's a joke or a jab. Jennifer's expression stiffens. "Well, Joy, I think." "No, really," Joy interrupts again, smiling sweetly. "We all love you, but you've become, what's the word? Intense. Very intense. Don't you feel like maybe the public misses the fun, Jennifer?" The crowd's laughter now grows uneasy. A producer in the booth flinches. Alyssa glances at Sunny. Whoopi tilts her head as if to silently warn Joy to ease up. Jennifer feels something flicker inside, like a match swiped roughly against a surface. "I think people evolve," Jennifer says carefully, her voice even. "Actors grow. Stories grow. And honestly, I love exploring deeper." "Sure," Joy says. "But sometimes it feels like you're avoiding your comedic roots. Like you're running from them, maybe?" Jennifer's smile fades. "Not all the way. Just enough for those paying close attention to see the shadow forming beneath it. I'm not running from anything, she says. A hush falls, brief but dense. Sunny tries to lighten the moment. Jennifer's range has always been one of her greatest strengths. But Joy pushes forward. I mean, come on. You've built your career on being the sweetheart of comedy. And don't get me wrong, the dramatic stuff is fine. But it feels like you're trying to prove something. Like you're trying to be taken more seriously. Why now? A ripple of murmurs spreads through the audience. Someone coughs. Someone else whispers. Jennifer feels the pressure in her chest. Not panic, but indignation. The feeling of someone poking just a little too hard. She takes a breath, her voice tightening but still controlled. Joy, I'm here to talk about a film I poured my heart into. And we will, Joy says, hands up defensively, though the smirk remains. But I think people are curious. You've been in headlines lately about shifting your image. It's relevant. Jennifer blinks. Headlines? Shifting her image? Is this the angle they planned? No one told her that. She glances at the producers off stage, but they suddenly find something fascinating on their clipboards. Whoopi steps in, voice calm. All right, let her speak. Joy leans back, but doesn't break eye contact. Jennifer meets it steadily. I'm not interested in proving anything, Jennifer says slowly. I'm interested in telling stories that matter. Comedic or dramatic. Whatever resonates with me at the time. Joy raises her eyebrows. So you think comedy doesn't matter? The audience gasps. Jennifer's jaw tightens. That's not what I said. But that's how it sounded, Joy says, her tone shifting, tightening, the teasing sweetness evaporating. No, Jennifer says, leaning forward, her voice gaining weight. What I'm saying is that I'm allowed to grow. I'm allowed to change. And I'm allowed to explore roles that challenge me. That shouldn't be controversial. Who said it's controversial? Joy asks, feigning innocence. I just think the public feels a little abandoned. A stunned silence engulfs the room. Abandoned, Jennifer repeats. Joy, with all due respect, that's ridiculous. Joy shrugs. The shrug of someone who knows exactly what they're doing. Sunny steps in again. Jennifer's film is about grief and healing. Yes, Jennifer says gratefully. And it's a story I believe can. But grief and healing, Joy interrupts once more, aren't topics people turn to you for. At least not historically. Do you feel qualified to tell stories like that, Jennifer? A sharp inhale from the audience. A man in the second row whispers, Oh no. Jennifer's pulse spikes. She knows this tone. She knows when an interview turns into an ambush, not about scandal or controversy, but about something more personal, legitimacy. Yes, she says firmly. I do. And anyone with empathy and life experience can tell a story about grief. Joy chuckles. But that's the thing, Jen. The industry hasn't exactly seen you in that light. Jennifer feels heat rise in her face, not embarrassment, but anger. Not loud, not explosive, but simmering. Controlled. Focused. Then maybe the industry needs to expand how it sees people, she says, her voice steady but intense. Joy's smile falters for the first time. Whoopi watches quietly, hands folded. She senses the storm tightening. You know, Jennifer adds, I came on this show to have a conversation, not to be interrogated about my right to exist outside of comedy. Joy opens her mouth, but Jennifer lifts a hand, small, polite, yet powerful. And just because comedy has been part of my history, she continues, does not mean it defines my entire future. A murmur of applause rises, tentative at first, then stronger. Joy's eyes narrow slightly. No need to get defensive. I'm not defensive, Jennifer says. I'm setting a boundary. A pause. Thick. Electric. Joy shifts in her seat. The audience leans forward, breaths held. Sunny looks down at her notes, exhaling. Alyssa's eyes dart between them nervously. Whoopi shakes her head slowly, almost imperceptibly. Jennifer tries to reset the energy. Look, let's talk about the film. It's a story about... Joy interrupts again. Jennifer, do you think maybe you're reacting this way because you're sensitive about the shift in your career? Because you know people. She leans forward. Aren't fully convinced by it? The crowd reacts instantly, gasps, whispers, someone muttering, wow. Something inside Jennifer snaps. Not loudly, not visibly, but unmistakably. Her voice drops. Calm. Too calm. Joy, she says. I'm not here to validate anyone's insecurities except the characters I play. Joy opens her mouth again, but Jennifer continues, sharper. I don't need permission to evolve. Silence. For a moment, the entire studio becomes a vacuum. Every camera waits. Every audience member sits frozen. Producers exchange panicked glances. Then Joy says, crossing her arms, usually our guests are a little more cooperative. Jennifer blinks slowly. Cooperative? Willing to have a conversation. This hasn't been a conversation, Jennifer says. This has been a cross-examination. Joy scoffs, but it wavers, revealing a crack in her composure. The energy shifts dramatically. The room feels smaller, hotter. The overhead lights seem to sharpen into white blades. The tension is palpable, a living thing between them. Jennifer sits back in her chair, breath shallow, eyes burning. Not with tears, but with the kind of fury born from years of being boxed, labeled, underestimated. She glances around the table. Then at the audience. Then back at Joy. Is this really what you want to do today? She asks quietly. Joy doesn't answer. And in that unanswered space, something begins to unravel. Jennifer lifts her mug, takes a slow sip, and sets it down with precision. Her hands don't shake. Her voice, when she speaks again, is low and unyielding. I think it's very telling, she says, when confidence is mistaken for defensiveness. The audience murmurs in agreement. A producer offstage raises both hands, as if to say cut to commercial. Please. But the moment is too captivating for anyone to interrupt. Jennifer glances at Joy one last time, a look filled with years of swallowed comments, of expectations placed upon her shoulders, of silent battles fought behind studio doors. And then she does something no one in the studio expects. She stands. Not abruptly. Not dramatically. With intent. With dignity. The audience goes dead silent. Joy blinks, stunned. Jennifer, where are you going? Jennifer doesn't look back. She smooths her dress, inhales, and walks off the set. The cameras capture the host's stunned faces, the audience's wide eyes, the frozen moment where daytime television crosses into something rawer, deeper, almost cinematic. And somewhere behind the curtain, Jennifer exhales, finally, away from the noise. The studio erupts in chaos. And that is only the beginning. Jennifer's heels click sharply against the polished backstage floor as she moves down the dim corridor, the murmur of the stunned audience still echoing faintly behind her. She doesn't run. She wouldn't give anyone that satisfaction. But her stride is purposeful, fueled by a cocktail of adrenaline, disbelief, and a kind of quiet anger she hasn't felt in years. Crew members flatten themselves against the walls as she passes, their eyes wide, their headsets buzzing with frantic voices. Someone whispers, "Is she seriously leaving?" Another responds, "I think she just walked out." But no one dares speak to her directly. Not yet. Behind her, on the brightly lit set, the view descends into a controlled panic, or perhaps an uncontrolled one. For a moment, the hosts sit frozen, Whoopi blinking slowly, Sunny covering her mouth with her hand, Alyssa staring like she's witnessing a slow-motion implosion, and Joy gripping her mug so tightly her knuckles whiten. "Ah," Whoopi finally says, her voice low and uncertain. "We'll be right back." The words fall like sand, heavy and inevitable. Go to commercial. The red studio lights flash. The band scrambles into a few awkward notes, trying to fill the void. The producers shout over each other through headsets, some calling for cameras to cut, others barking orders about getting Jennifer backstage, others cursing that this wasn't in the script. The audience buzzes, a hive suddenly stirred with a stick. But Joy doesn't look at anyone. She stares toward the direction Jennifer left, her lips pressed so tightly they pale to a thin pink line. There's something in her eyes, a mixture of surprise, annoyance, and something harder to read. Something like guilt, or maybe pride, or perhaps a stubborn refusal to accept that she might have gone too far. Backstage, Jennifer finally stops walking. There, In a quiet corner near a storage hallway filled with spare chairs and old set decorations, she leans against the wall. Her heartbeat hammers in her ears. She closes her eyes and exhales slowly, letting the breath steady her. She is Jennifer Aniston. She has faced much worse. Paparazzi storms. Tabloid fabrications. Criticism disguised as commentary. But this felt different. Not because the criticism cut deeper, but because it came masked in feigned curiosity. Because it came from a place she didn't expect on live television, under lights that seemed to magnify every insecurity she thought she'd left behind. A gentle voice interrupts her thoughts. Jennifer? She opens her eyes. Sunny Hostin stands a few feet away, her hands clasped in front of her, her expression apologetic and earnest. The moment Jennifer sees her, the tightness in her shoulders loosens just a fraction. Sunny, she says quietly. I wanted to check on you, Sunny says, stepping closer. That got out of hand fast. Jennifer huffs out a humorless laugh. That's one way to put it. Sunny hesitates. I'm sorry. I tried to redirect, but Joy, she's been in a mood all morning. I noticed, Jennifer says. They stand in silence for a moment. Sunny looks uncomfortable, guilt gnawing at her. You didn't deserve that. I know you came here to talk about your film. They should have respected that. Jennifer's jaw clenches as she pushes off the wall. I'm not upset about the questions. I'm upset about the intent. Sunny nods. Trust me. I know. Before Jennifer can respond, a producer bursts around the corner, her headset bouncing against her shoulder. Jennifer. Oh, thank God. Look, can we talk? Just for a second. She's breathless, frantic, almost tripping over her words. Jennifer raises a hand, calm but firm. If this is about going back on set. No, not that. The producer lies instantly. Too quickly. Well, okay, yes, partly. We just need to know what you want us to do. Joy is insisting she didn't do anything wrong. The network's already emailing. We're in the middle of a situation. Sunny crosses her arms, stepping protectively between them. Maybe give Jennifer a moment. The producer swallows, nods. Right. Of course. Absolutely. Just please don't leave the building. Jennifer sighs. Can I at least breathe before I get dragged into damage control? The producer nods rapidly and shuffles away, leaving Jennifer with Sunny again. You don't have to go back out there, Sunny says quietly. Not if you don't want to. Jennifer looks down the hallway, in the direction of the set she just walked away from. The glowing lights still bleed through the edges of the curtains. Voices buzz faintly like distant thunder. Part of her wants to leave the building entirely, call her publicist, get into a car, disappear for the rest of the day. But another part of her, the part that's grown stronger with age, the part that refuses to let anyone belittle her work or question her sincerity, feels something different, something that resembles resolve. Sunny, she says softly, I don't walk away from things. You did just now. That's because I refuse to let someone talk to me like that, Jennifer says. But running away from the situation afterwards? That's not me either. Sunny nods thoughtfully. So what do you want to do? Jennifer breathes in deeply. I want to talk, but only if Joy is willing to actually listen. Sunny looks doubtful. She's not great at that on the best of days. Jennifer gives a small smirk. Then today's a challenge. Before they can continue, another voice joins them, deep, calm, unmistakably authoritative. Ladies, Whoopi says, stepping around the corner, her hands resting on her hips. Her expression isn't angry, just concerned. And tired. Very tired. Jennifer, that was one hell of a moment you created out there. Not intentionally, Jennifer says. Oh, I know, Whoopi replies, offering a gentle smile. But Joy, she's Joy. And sometimes Joy's mouth works faster than her brain. Sunny snorts. Understatement. Whoopi nods toward Jennifer. You okay? Jennifer hesitates. I don't like being cornered. No one does, Whoopi says. Especially not people who are used to being treated with respect. And let me be clear, you were disrespected. Sunny nods firmly. Jennifer sighs. Thank you. I appreciate that. Whoopi leans against the wall. The producers want to know if you're willing to come back out after commercial. They're panicking. The audience is buzzing. Social media is probably already going wild. Jennifer closes her eyes for a moment, imagining the storm that must be brewing online. Clips being posted before the segment even ends, fans defending her, critics twisting the narrative, tabloids preparing headlines like vultures circling a carcass. When she opens her eyes again, she looks calmer, clearer. "I'll go back," she says. Sunny raises her eyebrows. "Are you sure?" Jennifer nods. "But I'm not going back to get walked over again. If Joy wants a conversation, then she's going to get one. A real one." Whoopi smiles slightly. "That's what I like to hear." Jennifer straightens her posture, smoothing her hair, brushing the last bits of vulnerability off her shoulders like dust. "Let's do this," she says. Back on the set, Joy sits stiffly in her chair, arms crossed tightly. Alyssa leans toward her in a half-whisper. "Maybe you should apologize." "For what?" Joy snaps, keeping her voice low but sharp. "Asking questions?" Alyssa hesitates. "It's not what you asked. It's how you asked." Joy scoffs. "People are too sensitive." She walked off because she didn't like being challenged. "That's not my problem." Alyssa opens her mouth again, but the stage manager calls out, "Back in 20 seconds." The hosts straighten. The audience settles. The lights rebrighten. A tension thicker than the studio air settles over them. Then, just as the countdown hits 6, Jennifer steps back onto the stage. The audience erupts into applause, part relief, part admiration, part pure fascination with the unfolding drama. Joy's smile appears instantly, brittle and forced. "Well, look who's back." Jennifer sits down gracefully, her face composed. But her eyes, sharp, steady, lock onto Joy's. "Of course I'm back," she says, her voice smooth but unyielding. "I wasn't finished." A ripple of electricity pulses through the room. The audience leans in. Whoopi's eyebrows rise. Sunny clasps her hands. Alyssa sits frozen. Joy tilts her head, trying to reclaim control. "Well, great. Let's continue. We were talking about your discomfort with comedy." "That's not what we were talking about," Jennifer says plainly. Joy blinks, thrown off. "Oh, then what were we talking about?" "We were talking about respect," Jennifer says. "And intention. And the difference between curiosity and provocation." Behind the cameras, the producers scramble. One whispers, "Oh God, this is live. This is happening live." A hush falls over the studio. Jennifer continues, her voice steady. "You asked me if I felt qualified to tell emotional stories. That wasn't a question, it was a judgment. A loaded one. And I'm allowed to call that out." The audience murmurs approval. Joy's eyes narrow. "I'm a comedian, Jennifer. I ask pointed questions. It's what I do." Jennifer nods. "Then ask pointed questions about the film. Not about my right to evolve as an artist." Joy sits still, her jaw tightening. Whoopi leans forward, breaking the stalemate. "You know what? Let's take a breath." "Joy, Jennifer. Clearly something got misinterpreted here." Jennifer looks to Whoopi. "Nothing was misinterpreted. I understood perfectly." Joy inhales sharply, ready to retort. But Jennifer continues, more softly this time. "I didn't come here to fight. I came here because I care about the story I'm telling. And I expect fair conversation. Not derision." The words land heavily. For the first time, Joy seems genuinely rattled. Her comeback falters before it can form. The audience sits frozen, caught in the gravity of the moment. Alyssa finally speaks. "I think we should talk about the film. That's what Jennifer deserves." The audience applauds lightly. Jennifer nods. "Thank you." And for the first time since the segment began, the air shifts, just slightly, toward something calmer. But only slightly, because the tension simmering beneath the table isn't gone. It's waiting, quietly, for the moment it will erupt again. And deep down, everyone on that set knows. That moment is coming. The applause slowly fades, but the tension remains, hanging heavy in the air like stage fog that refuses to lift. Jennifer adjusts in her chair, the set lights warming her skin, amplifying every heartbeat. The audience stares at her, at Joy, at the space between them. An invisible fault line that could crack open again without warning. The hosts shift in their seats, trying to recalibrate the energy, but the room has already changed. Something deeper is at play now. Something raw. Jennifer is fully present. No longer merely a guest, but a force reclaiming her ground. Joy, meanwhile, sits with her shoulders a shade too stiff, her smile too sharp. She's not used to losing control of an interview. Not used to someone matching her blow for blow with calm, surgical precision. The cameras reposition. A producer gestures wildly from behind the glass, mouthing something that looks a lot like, "For the love of God, keep it together." But on the other side of the table, a collision course is already forming. Alyssa jumps in first, speaking quickly. "So Jennifer, your character in the film goes through a really profound emotional journey. What drew you to a story about grief?" Gratitude flickers across Jennifer's face. Someone is giving her a lifeline. "Well," Jennifer begins, her tone softening. "The film explores what it means to lose someone you love and still find a way to move forward. It's about the silence after the storm, the moments where you're forced to sit with yourself and..." Joy exhales loudly, the kind of emphatic exhale meant to be subtle but absolutely isn't. Jennifer stops mid-sentence. Slowly, she turns her head toward Joy. The audience straightens in their seats. "Yes," Jennifer says, her voice slow, deliberate. "Is there something you'd like to add, Joy?" Joy lifts a shoulder nonchalantly. "I just find it interesting, that's all." "Interesting," Jennifer repeats. "How so?" Joy taps her pen against the table. Once. Twice. A rhythm that feels intentionally provoking. "Well, you talk about grief and silence like you're some expert on suffering." Whoopi's eyes close. Sunny's mouth drops open slightly. Alyssa shoots a death glare at Joy that goes unnoticed or ignored. Jennifer stares. Very still. Very controlled. Joy continues, as if compelled. "But let's be honest, Jennifer. The public looks at you and sees, well, they see someone who's had a pretty charmed life. Beautiful, successful. Do you really expect people to buy into you as the face of deep emotional pain?" A collective gasp ripples across the audience. Some people look furious. Others stunned. A woman in the third row clasps her hands over her mouth. Jennifer doesn't move. Doesn't blink. Doesn't look away. Inside her, the words swirl, heated and sharp. But when she speaks, her voice is steady, dangerously steady. "You're questioning my ability to understand pain." Joy shrugs lightly. "It's a fair question." "No," Jennifer says. "It's not." Joy's smile wavers. Just slightly. Jennifer leans forward, her elbows resting gently on the table. Her posture is relaxed. Her eyes are not. "Everyone in this room," Jennifer says, "every single person watching this show, fan, critic, host, has experienced pain. Loss. Grief. None of us escape it. Not even celebrities." Her gaze sharpens. "Not even me." Joy opens her mouth, but Jennifer continues, her voice deepening with sincerity that cuts through the studio like a blade. "You don't know the losses I've carried. You don't know the things I've kept private. You don't know the tears I've shed when cameras weren't anywhere near me." A soft tremor touches her voice, not weakness, but humanity. "You see me smile, so you assume that's all there is." The audience is silent. The air vibrates with emotional tension. Whoopi nods slowly, the first to break the hush. "Everybody has a story, Joy, including Jennifer." Jennifer takes a breath. "And even if I had lived a life free from pain, which I haven't, it wouldn't make me unqualified to tell stories that matter. That's what artists do. We give voice to the emotions people struggle to express. That's not a privilege. That's work." Joy looks caught, not fully defeated, but shaken. "I wasn't trying to insult you." Jennifer gives a small, tight smile. Intent and impact are different things. Joy blinks, thrown by the line. Sunny steps forward, her voice quiet but firm. "Jennifer, thank you for sharing that. People forget that emotional experience isn't always public." Jennifer nods appreciatively. But Joy, uncomfortable with the direction of the conversation, tries to pivot, her fingers restless around her mug. Well, okay. Fine. Maybe I was a little pointed. She lifts her brows. But you did walk off the set, Jennifer. Don't you think that was a bit overdramatic? The audience murmurs in disapproval. Alyssa shakes her head, whispering, "Why would you say that?" Jennifer laughs softly, not amused, but incredulous. Overdramatic. Joy nods. We're all adults. We argue, we disagree. Walking away sends the wrong message. It's like you couldn't handle the conversation. Jennifer inhales slowly, her composure like tempered steel. I walked off because I refused to be treated with disrespect. Again. Joy shifts, the defensive walls rising in her eyes. Let me ask you something, Joy, Jennifer says, her voice calm and surgical. If any guest came here, actor, politician, activist, and the first 15 minutes of their interview were spent undermining their credibility, would you expect them to sit quietly and smile? Joy stiffens but doesn't answer. Jennifer continues, her tone sharpening just a degree. Don't mistake my composure for weakness. I left because I value myself. And because I won't sit in a chair while someone chips away at my integrity under the guise of questions. A sudden, powerful applause erupts from the audience. Real applause. Loud. Supportive. Emotional. Joy looks around, startled by the force of it. Jennifer doesn't revel in the moment. She simply waits for the applause to settle, then speaks with quiet intensity. I came back out here because I'm not afraid of hard conversations. I came back because I believe clarity comes after confrontation. Whoopi is nodding emphatically now. Amen to that. Joy exhales, her face softening, but only slightly. Fine, she says. Maybe I pushed too hard. A murmur of disbelief trickles across the audience. That is as close to an apology as Joy ever gives. And maybe, Jennifer replies gently, I was more hurt by your tone than I realized in the moment. Joy's eyes flicker. She wasn't expecting Jennifer to match vulnerability with vulnerability. Jennifer goes on. I'm not angry, Joy. I'm not holding a grudge. I just want to be heard. Joy looks away, not out of dismissal, but because something in Jennifer's sincerity unsettles her. Before the moment can soften too much, a voice crackles through the producer's headset so loudly the crew winces. We need to wrap this segment. Now, move it along, please. Whoopi claps her hands together. All right, folks, let's transition before our producers pass out over there. The audience laughs warmly, grateful for the break in intensity. But Jennifer isn't finished. One last thing, she says, turning to Joy. I've dealt with critiques for decades. I understand the job. But there's a difference between critique and condescension. Joy stares back, something unreadable in her eyes. And you think I was condescending? I know you were, Jennifer says. Joy opens her mouth, then closes it. Her gaze flickers downward just for a second that says more than any words she could speak. Sunny jumps in. Jennifer, thank you for sharing your heart with us today. Truly. Jennifer smiles softly. Thank you. Alyssa adds, your honesty is refreshing. Really? Jennifer nods. But Joy remains still, as if weighing something heavy inside her. Then finally she speaks. Well, she says slowly, maybe I shouldn't have phrased things the way I did. The audience murmurs. It's not a full apology, but it's something. Jennifer meets her halfway. Thank you for saying that. Joy looks at her, really looks at her. And for a brief moment, something human flickers in her expression. Maybe recognition. Maybe regret. But the moment is fleeting. Because just then, the producer counts down again. And we're out in 3, 2. The camera's cut. But the room doesn't exhale. Not yet. Because even with the segment over, the tension hasn't fully dissipated. There's unspoken energy coiling beneath the table. Unfinished business itching to break free. Jennifer looks around. The audience. The hosts. Joy. The silent storm in all their faces. And she knows. This isn't over. Not even close. Backstage whispers are already picking up. Producers scrambling. Social media exploding. Headlines forming. This moment, this clash, has taken on a life of its own. And the fallout hasn't even started yet. The moment the cameras cut, the studio erupts into a flurry of motion. Stagehands rush from the wings, producers speak in overlapping bursts, and the studio audience ripples with hushed conversation that grows louder, more frantic, more electric by the second. It's as if the tension that had gripped the room during the broadcast has burst like a dam, flooding the space with raw, unfiltered energy. Jennifer remains seated for a moment, her hands still poised on the table, the warmth of the studio lights still clinging to her skin. She feels her breath steadying, returning to her. She's not shaking. She's not second-guessing. If anything, she feels grounded. Clear. Across from her, Joy adjusts her papers without looking up, the air around her still thick with unspoken things. Sunny and Alyssa exchange glances, and Whoopi leans back with an exhale so heavy it could blow the tablecloth off. All right, Whoopi mumbles, half to herself, half to the others. That was something. Jennifer stands slowly. The audience begins clapping. Softly at first, then louder, a rolling wave of support that grows until it fills the entire room. She turns toward them, her expression warming with gratitude. She places a hand over her heart and gives a small, genuine nod. Thank you, she mouths. A few audience members rise to give her a standing ovation. Others join. Soon the entire front row is up, applauding, cheering, affirming. It isn't a frenzy, it's a release. A collective recognition of the moment they just witnessed. Joy straightens in her chair, watching the applause, her expression unreadable, half defensive, half contemplative. A producer gestures to Jennifer from the wing. We need you backstage. Jennifer walks off the set once more. This time not in anger, not in escape, but with a calm dignity that reverberates through the room. The applause follows her until the curtain blocks out the lights. Backstage is chaos. Phones buzz like angry hornets. Assistants whisper updates at lightning speed. Screens display live social media feeds already exploding. Hashtag Jennifer on the View. Hashtag Joy Behar Clash. Hashtag Team Aniston. Hashtag She Walked Right Out. The hashtags climb rapidly, almost too fast to track. One producer sprints past yelling into a headset, "Handle the ABC executives. I don't care how. Just handle them." Another tries to flag Jennifer down, but she's intercepted by her publicist, Carla, who looks like she's been dropped into the center of a hurricane. "Oh, my God," Carla says, grabbing Jennifer's arms. "What happened? What was that? Do you know what's happening on Twitter right now? Do you?" Jennifer gives her a gentle look, steady and surprisingly calm. "Carla, breathe." Carla inhales sharply, pressing her lips together. "Jennifer, this is everywhere. Every outlet. Every platform. TMZ already has clips up." "That was fast," Sunny says as she and Alyssa approach from behind. "It's TMZ," Carla mutters. "They have faster reflexes than the emergency alert system." Alyssa looks apologetic. "Jennifer, I'm really sorry you had to deal with that. It was uncomfortable even for us." Sunny nods. "And you handled yourself with grace." "Truly." Jennifer offers a small smile. "Thank you." But then another voice chimes in from behind them, lower, more hesitant. "Jennifer." They all turn. Joy stands a few feet away, her posture stiff but not combative. She looks strangely smaller without the desk in front of her, without the buffer of cameras. The studio lights don't cloak her here. There is no panel, no audience, just her. Sunny and Alyssa exchange glances before stepping aside, giving space but not leaving completely. Jennifer faces Joy. She keeps her expression neutral, open but guarded. Joy clears her throat. "I wanted to talk." Carla glances at Jennifer, unsure whether to step in or back away. Jennifer nods slightly. "It's okay." Carla reluctantly moves aside. Joy's voice is quieter than before. "Look, I know you're upset." "I'm not upset," Jennifer says gently. "I was hurt. There's a difference." Joy swallows. "I didn't mean to make it sound like you weren't legitimate, or that your work isn't meaningful. She pauses, searching for the words. "I get wrapped up sometimes. In the performance of it all. Pushing boundaries, asking sharp questions. I forget there's a person on the other side. Jennifer watches her. Joy fidgets with her fingers, a rare display of nerves for someone so publicly unflappable. It wasn't my intention to belittle you, Joy adds softly. Jennifer considers this. Considers her tone, her body language, the air between them. I believe you, Jennifer says finally. But intention doesn't erase impact. Joy nods slowly. I know. And I'm sorry. The word is small. But it's real. A brief silence hangs between them, fragile but sincere. Jennifer steps closer, her voice warm but firm. You're strong, Joy. And smart. And sharp. But sometimes sharp hurts. And today it did. Joy shifts her gaze downward before lifting it again. I'll do better. Jennifer offers a faint smile. That's all anyone can do. Joy nods again and then retreats, her shoulders slightly slumped but somehow lighter, as if she's been carrying the weight of her own pride. Sunny exhales loudly. Well, that was unexpected. Alyssa adds, honestly, that was nice to see. But Carla throws her hands in the air. Okay, heartfelt moment, great, but we have a PR wildfire on our hands. Jennifer laughs softly. And for the first time all day, it's genuine. She moves toward the dressing room with Carla frantically following behind. Inside, the room is a quiet sanctuary compared to the chaos outside. A mirror framed with soft bulbs reflects Jennifer's face back at her. Not angry, not shaken, just resolved. Carla scrolls furiously through her phone. Every outlet wants a statement. No statement, Jennifer says, sitting and removing the microphone from her collar. Not yet. But, no, her voice is firm. I don't need to defend myself. The moment speaks for itself. Carla pauses, then sighs, defeated but trusting her. Okay, but brace yourself. This is going to be a ride. Jennifer nods. It's fine. She doesn't mean it's pleasant or easy. She means she knows who she is. And no panel or clash or moment on daytime TV can shake that. Minutes later, security escorts Jennifer toward the back exit, away from the crush of paparazzi gathering outside the gates. She passes through a hallway where staff give her small nods of solidarity. Someone whispers, good for her. Another says, she handled that like a queen. Jennifer exits into a waiting SUV. The door closes behind her. The world is quieter inside. She leans back into the leather seat and exhales. For a moment, she allows herself stillness. Meanwhile, inside the View's studio, Joy returns to the table where the other hosts sit reviewing notes for the next guest. The atmosphere is strained, quiet, unsure. Alyssa speaks first. So that was intense. Joy sighs heavily. Yeah, it was. Sunny folds her hands, looking at Joy meaningfully. You know, sometimes we forget these people aren't just screens or characters. They're real. Joy nods. I know. She rubs her forehead. I misread her. And I underestimated her. Whoopi hums. Everyone underestimates someone until they don't. Joy gives a tired, pained smirk. Maybe. But the fallout is already beginning. Outside, the paparazzi yell Jennifer's name as the SUV pulls away. Inside the car, her phone buzzes nonstop. Messages. Mentions. Clips. Hashtags. Statements. Demands. But Jennifer doesn't pick it up. Not yet. Far across the city, on countless screens, millions of viewers watch replay after replay of her confrontation with Joy Behar. Some cheer for her. Some criticize her. Some analyze every word. Some make memes. News anchors react. Morning radio hosts debate. Podcasts record emergency episodes. TikTokers reenact the fight with dramatic music. Twitter threads spiral into fandom wars. On social media, one video goes viral within minutes. The moment Jennifer stands, calm but resolute, and walks off the set. The caption reads, "A lesson in self-respect." By evening, several major outlets publish think pieces. Jennifer Aniston and the power of boundaries. When interviews go too far. The View faces backlash after hosts' remarks. But a different wave emerges too, one full of admiration. Comments flood in. She handled that like a grown woman. I'm so proud of Jennifer. Joy was out of line today. Team Jennifer all the way. Someone finally said what we all feel. And then there's the quieter, more thoughtful commentary. She reminded everyone that celebrities feel pain too. That was the most human moment I've seen on television in years. Jennifer sees none of it, yet. She sits quietly, staring out the car window at the city rushing by, lights blurring into streaks of gold and blue. In the privacy of the SUV, she allows a small, private smile. She did not lose her temper. She did not lash out. She did not crumble. She stood up for herself with grace. The next morning, her phone will explode with messages from friends, co-stars, and strangers. Her publicist will have a dozen interviews lined up. The View will issue a formal statement. Joy will clarify her comments. The internet will still be arguing. But tonight, for the first time in a long time, Jennifer feels free. Free from expectations. Free from boxes. Free from the weight of being the version of Jennifer people insist she must be. A woman sits in a car, heading home. No cameras on her now, just the low hum of the engine carrying her forward. Outside, the world spins with opinions. Inside, she breathes, simply, fully, peacefully. And somewhere, someone posts. Jennifer Aniston didn't walk off the View that day. She walked into her power. The comment goes viral. The story becomes legend. And now it's yours. What do you think about what happened? Was Jennifer right to walk off? Was Joy out of line? I want to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments. And before you go, make sure you subscribe to Stage View for more explosive, dramatic, cinematic stories like this one. Because you never know which Hollywood moment might erupt next.